मैम।
हो रही है आप लोगों की, थोड़ा देख लो। गुड आफ्टरनून, हाउ आर यू? आवाज थोड़ी एको हो रही है, तो देख लो, थोड़ा दूर दूर बैठो, जस्ट ट्राई दैट। हाँ
बोलना होगा तो उससे बोलिएगा। फोटोज ले लेना, एक बार ही ले लें, अभी जीनत नाम भी है, ले सकते हैं। आप दो से मत करिए ना, फिर एक बच्ची का वो हो जाता है। नहीं, इसको मत करने दो, और कनेक्टिविटी कुछ आता है तो एटलीस्ट ये कनेक्टिविटी हमने देखे नहीं तो पूरे में भी नहीं बहुत से देखिएगा, ज्यादा नहीं है। तो वही मैं बोल रही हूं ना कि हम लोग पास
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम सलाम।
नाजिया ऑल सेट? अस्सलाम वालेकुम जीनत मैम। यू आर ऑन म्यूट मैम।
ऐसे ही हमारे सारे मेंबर कंप्लीट हो जाते हैं। सदफ
जी
जी जी, एक फोटो ले लेंगे, ठीक है? स्टार्टिंग
आप हैं कहाँ?
मैं
अच्छा ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है। हाँ राशिदा मैम, नाजिया
जी मैम।
वो देखे रहना, पांडे जी से कहना कि मैट को हाँ आना होगा ना, तो उनको ऐसा ना हो कि
श्योर श्योर, हम कंप्यूटर सेंटर में ही है सदफ, राइट?
हाँ हाँ दिख रहा है दिख रहा है।
हाँ हाँ हाँ
आई कैन सी दैट।
पांडे जी भी है।
हेलो पांडे जी। पांडे जी के होने से तो बहुत सुकून है यार।
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल, पांडे जी के होने से बहुत सुकून है। एक फोटो उठाइए।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम सदफ, फोन कर रहे थे?
हाँ मुझे लगा आप बोल रही हैं, सुनाई नहीं पड़ क्या हो रहा है।
गुड टू सी, गुड टू सी।
चलो सेट ना, चलो बैठो।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम जीनत, कैसी हैं आप?
अच्छे हैं, आप बताएं कैसे हैं? अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह सब खैरियत।
अल्लाह का शुक्र। और मैट सर के यहाँ क्या टाइम होगा अभी?
मैट सर ऑनलाइन थे, बस ज्वाइन करने वाले हैं, उनका मैसेज आया था।
नाइस। 2:30 बज रहे, सुबह की उठिया मैम।
ये वो बैनर बनाता है
इसके 640 रुपए ले रहे हैं बंदा।
पुराना जो भी है।
माय गॉड, ये रेट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के हिसाब से है कि नहीं है?
तो पता नहीं, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के हिसाब से ही दिया हुआ।
ये जो सिंपल जो नेम प्लेट है उसके ये इतने पैसे ले रहे हैं? टू मच।
वो ये प्लेसमेंट सेल वाला जो आपने बनवाया था ना सर, तो अच्छा ये जाएगा डीन ऑफिस की तरफ से या आपकी तरफ से जाएगा, ये भी देख लीजिए।
इसको तो आप छोड़ दो हमें,
है ना,
तो फिर हम देखते हैं बात करके उनसे।
इसको
ये क्या है? ये क्या इसमें चाह रहे हो आप मुझसे?
फॉरवर्ड करेंगे, एक साथ चले जाएंगे।
नाजिया अपने ग्रुप थोड़ा आपको आ रहा है ना?
ठीक है मैं देखती हूँ।
मम्मी ये शायद तो पूछ लो सबको कि मैम के साइड चाहिए थे हमारे।
आप ही कर दीजिए।
इज इट ओके ना? अच्छा मैम आपने ईमेल क्यों नहीं बनाया?
हाँ
अरे यार ऊपर से लाना पड़ेगा तो शायद मैम
आप लोग 2 लोग तो होगा।
आप लोग की ना आवाज ऐसी हो रही है।
रूम्स में बैठे हैं, आपको यहाँ मोटिवेशन सपोर्ट चाहिए तो
नाजिया एक रूम में मत बैठो। नाजिया
यस
एक रूम में मत बैठिए।
ठीक है मैम, श्योर।
अदरवाइज इट्स अ बिग इशू।
कुछ और चाहिए तुम लोग इधर?
ठीक है मैम, ठीक है। I think now it is fine, ma'am. So the
it is much better, much better. खुर्शीद सर अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन अस्सलाम वालेकुम सभी मेंटल हेल्थ क्लब के मेंबरान को, डिप्टी DSW मैम को एंड
है हमारे साथ
एवरीवन हु इज देयर। अस्सलाम वालेकुम, गुड इवनिंग।
नाजिया मैं ऑडिबल? एको अभी भी आ रहा है बेटा, आप ना बहुत दूर चले जाओ, बिल्कुल सेपरेट रूम में चले जाओ।
Kalpana ma'am is
या एक काम कर लो।
I think now it's fine, ma'am.
It is still there but little less. What I will suggest is that you use only one system. You may change your seats. जब आप बोल चुके एक ही सिस्टम को एक कमरे में ऑन करो।
Okay.
बहुत दिक्कत हो जाएगी आप लोग को बच्चे।
We'll just do it, ma'am.
हाँ।
Ma'am, is it okay now?
It's much better. हाँ। तो हमारा ये सलाह रहेगा आपको कि एक ही सिस्टम ऑन कर लो और एक जन थोड़ा सा इधर उधर होके बात कर लो, ज्यादा अच्छा है।
ठीक है मैम।
और वहाँ तो कैमरा भी है ना, तो आपको दिक्कत नहीं है, मोड़ लो उसको अपनी तरफ बस।
जी मैम, जी।
ठीक है।
और नाजिया
जी मैम।
जब दूसरे लोग बोलेंगे तो म्यूट कर लेना, जब स्पीकर भी बोल रहा होगा ना तो जस्ट म्यूट कर देना एट दैट पॉइंट इन टाइम, क्योंकि जब हम बोल रहे हैं ना तो आ रहा है उधर से।
हाँ
वो तब म्यूट करना।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर।
सर गुड इवनिंग।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम
सर।
वालेकुम सर।
इसका एक प्रोसेस तो बना दिया।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम अफशाद सर, फराज दिस साइड।
वालेकुम सलाम।
कल्पना आप कंप्यूटर सेंटर में हैं क्या? कल्पना इज
नहीं मैम, आई एम ट्राइंग टू अवॉइड सिट देयर बिकॉज अदरवाइज इट विल जनरेट इको। सो वी आर प्रोग्रेसिंग टू आवर रूम। हम लोग अपने रूम्स में ही बैठेंगे। दैट विल मेक इट go smoothly, otherwise वो interference वहाँ बहुत हो रहा है। I'm taking stairs to my room.
अच्छा, no worries, carry on. नाज़िया एक बार ट्राई करो बोलने का।
जी मैम।
There's still a slight echo, but the only thing which we can do is that
अब क्यों इको हो रहा है? क्योंकि अब तो कोई डिवाइस
शायद जो स्वाति का सिस्टम है ना चक्कर में हो रहा है यार। तो what we do is better कि sit only one person there.
Yes. Pandit ji, device एक है वहाँ पर।
Just check.
It should be only single device used in this center.
only this computer is there, ma'am. No
Also check अपना मोबाइल चेक करिए, उसके बराबर तो नहीं रखा है।
हाँ exactly.
लैपटॉप को
नज़ीर अपना मोबाइल एक ऑफ करिए।
मैम कर दिया।
Just try now.
Is it fine now, ma'am?
It is a little better, but there's still an echo. So what we can do is that make sure that when only one mic or one microphone is on at one time. So we'll make sure that none of us are unmuted while anyone is speaking.
Sure.
वालेकुम सलाम।
मैम आप एक बार ट्राई करो जरा। Let's just mute ourselves. आप एक बार बोलना।
किसी का कैमरा
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम, is it fine?
आप म्यूटेड हैं।
कल्पना प्लीज म्यूट योरसेल्फ।
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
evening
afternoon
now.
कल्पना, please mute yourself।
वालेकुम मैम।
वालेकुम सलाम राशिदा। वालेकुम
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम।
वालेकुम सलाम।
Walaikum salam.
It's working, mashallah. It's working.
Throat is working. Yes.
No worries, no worries. It will work. नाजिया बेटा, नाजिया एक बात का ध्यान रख लो बच्चे, पूरे जो हॉल है ना उसमें सिर्फ एक डिवाइस आपका ऑन रहेगा, बाकी अगर किसी और का मोबाइल या किसी से कनेक्ट किया उनको रिक्वेस्ट करके बोल दीजिए वो दूसरे जो ग्लास डोर के पीछे वाले में चले जाए, ठीक है? अदरवाइज थोड़ा सा आपको दिक्कत होगा। और हाँ, कल्पना अपने रूम में चली गई है, रास्ता आई थिंक अपने रूम में है।
जी जी जी
I was already in my room. They insisted to come down.
No worries,
They thought that all the members should be together, but we had already done the activity once before where we ensured that only one speaker would sit in the center.
चलो ठीक है, whatever way. So I think technology usually shows different faces every day. No worries, we'll manage,
Yes, ma'am.
inshallah. ठीक है Nazia, I think it's working, but we will make sure is that we'll mute ourselves when someone is speaking. That's the only thing which we can do. Chalo, best of luck team. Inshallah, all will be good.
Thank you.
all the best, everyone.
Okay, Zinat, there was one issue that we intend to. Farah, assalamu alaikum. Nice to see you. You're muted.
Walaikum salam. Same here.
Zinat, Matt has joined.
Yes, Matt has joined.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Nazia, you may connect with him.
Please start.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Matt, and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everyone.
Chale, please start because I have to go somewhere.
Yes, sir, we'll start. I quote, anybody can become angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within everybody's power and is not easy. A very good evening, everyone. I, Nazia Ali, Assistant Professor in the Department of Occupational Therapy, welcome you all to the international webinar on emotional intelligence, key to professional and personal success, organized by the Mental Health Club under the aegis of DSW office, Jamia Hamdard. I'm glad to inform you that this is the third event of our Mental Health Club and there are many more on the way. Emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to use this awareness to imagine and manage your behavior and relationships. It is very important to understand that emotional intelligence is not the opposite of intelligence. It is not the triumph of heart over head. It is the unique intersection of both. Let us begin today's auspicious event with praise of the most merciful and the most benevolent. For that reason, I would like to call upon Saifuddin, Bachelor's of Physiotherapy student for Quran recitation. Saifuddin.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. I am going to recite a verse from Quran of Surah Al-Baqarah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين. And we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and a loss of wealth and lives and fruits, but give good tidings to the patient. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it very clear in the Quran that our worldly life will be filled with tests. Every single one of us will be tested in one way or another, including with our own emotions. Thank you.
Thank you, Saifuddin. It was all very heart-touching. I am pleased to invite Professor Dr. Reshma Nasreen Ma'am, Dean, Students Welfare. She's the person without whose constant support and encouragement this event would not have been possible. Requesting Ma'am, please address everyone. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Unmute yourself.
Second. Just a second. Good afternoon, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Thank you. More than being an institution, Hamdard is an idea put forth by a visionary founder, late Hakim Abdul Hamid Sahib, simply translates to sympathy for all and sharing of pain. The idea of khidmat-e-khalq or sympathy sharing of pain found its manifestation with each initiative taken in the establishment of our university, that is Jamia Hamdard in the year 1989. A true visionary and a philanthropist who understood the importance of empathy and equally emphasized the significance of awareness of not only one's own emotions but also those of the others. Today, we are very fortunate to have amongst us Mr. Matt Perelstein. I hope I have got the pronunciation correct, sir, who recognized the importance of emotional intelligence and has been spearheading various life altering initiatives and workshops pertaining to emotional quotient for more than 31 years. His approach of feel it to heal it has helped many people in mastering their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Matt will speak to us today, and he hopes all of us will embrace our critical emotional side. He will introduce us to the power and wonder of EQ, give us some of the basic steps to practice EQ, and show us how we can use our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and emotions to create success in our life as he has both personally and professionally. In both the American and Indian cultures, we focus mainly on the cognitive left brain side. So, this may be a big change for all of us. We welcome you, Matt. We are thankful that you could join us, although for you it is way past midnight. We also extend our heartiest welcome to Mrs. Farah Sarosh, CEO, Nurture Life, without whose support this webinar wouldn't have been possible. Nurture Life, which is based in Lucknow, works in the field of mental health and has its presence not only in India but also in parts of the world like Romania, USA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and Nepal. Nurture Life provides platform to motivate people to discuss their inner problems in interpersonal conflict of values that often leads to various problems in their personal as well as professional life. We welcome you, Farah. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. M. Afshar Alam, has consistently motivated us in exploring new vistas in student engagement. It is a testimony to this immense support that Sir has always encouraged us through his active participation and presence despite a very hectic schedule. We can't thank you enough, Sir. I welcome all our senior officials, colleagues, members of staff, and our very dear students who have joined both on the Google Meet as well as the live streaming on YouTube. I do hope we all will have a delightful journey today. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really a warm and affectionate welcome. I feel honored to have with us our Honorable Vice Chancellor, His Excellency Professor Dr. M. Afshar Alam Sahab, Sir, you hardly need any introduction. You have made all of us proud of your distinguished work in this capacity. A man of distinct vision and a fountainhead of illuminating ideas, an idol of knowledge, an experience and inspiration to all of us. Sir, we humbly request you to
भाई
bless us
वेबिनार चल रहा है
with
हमारा
your
तो
words.
Thank you. Greetings from Jamia Hamdard. Good evening to all. The Mental Health Club under the age of the DSW office Jamia Hamdard has been constituted with a vision to carry out university-wide initiative to assess, map, and enhance the mental health of all its stakeholders. It's heartening to see that a very important topic of emotional intelligence has been taken up for today's deliberation by a distinguished speaker like Mr. Matt Pristins. The discourse on mental health in general and emotional intelligence in particular has caught the attention of practitioners, academicians, and researchers alike. Emotional intelligence is an important aspect of the mental health of an individual. It is the ability to understand and manage emotion in an adaptive way to relieve stress, enhance decision-making capabilities, accelerate problem-solving skills, emphasis with the others, establish and maintain strong relations, social skills, and coping with the life situation. A good balance between the emotional intelligence and intelligent quotient help individual interact and connect with other people and their surroundings. In today's deliberation, Mr. Matt will highlight the integral role that EQ play is in all our interaction. I need not dissolve into the domain of our distinguished speaker, as his contribution to this area is eminent and span almost 3 decades. A university is a melting pot of ideas coming from young minds. The way their thought process is modeled and shaped will determine the future of forthcoming generations. The level of dialogue is highly influenced by our EQ when we interact with the other colleagues, senior bureaucrats, and young students as the administrator. The emotional intelligence is described as the ability to recognize and control your emotion whilst also being able to recognize and act according to other emotion. Emotional intelligence, which comprises of self-awareness, emotional control, self-motivation, empathy, and social skill, has therefore assumed paramount importance in overall personal as well as professional well-being of individuals. This has far-reaching consequences for organization as well as society at large. With this thought, we hopeful of having a very productive and insightful sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It's always a pleasure and honor to hear from you. Now, I'm taking this opportunity on behalf of Jamia Hamdard fraternity to welcome our distinguished speaker and today's guest of honor, Mr. Matt Perestine. It's 2:30 a.m. his time in the USA, but he promised us to stay awake for us for the next hour. As a child, Mr. Matt wasn't taught how to deal with his thoughts, feelings, and emotions in schools, and his parents didn't know, so he had a painful time of it. His father was an officer in the US Air Force, so they had to move every few years, sometimes to foreign countries. And Matt didn't handle it very well. After barely graduating from high school, going to therapy, and even throughout college, Matt was unhappy and disappointed with his life and his schooling. He had learned many facts and knowledge so he could get a job, but he still knew so little about how to manage his inner world. When he was 25, a co-worker invited him to an intensive transformational, emotion-based workshop and personal growth workshop where they dug into the core of his feelings and emotions. And Matt came out as a changed man. He realized that he wasn't broken or crazy, but he was just clueless emotionally. So he knew he had found the place he was looking for. Hardly anyone knew how to deal with theirs, and then There he decided and dedicated his life to learning as much as he could about himself and others emotionally, and to share what he has learned with as many people as possibly he could. Now, after 35 years, he's still learning and teaching emotional intelligence. He has authored a book on EQ and taught EQ thousands in person and virtually through webinars and workshops, and has founded an international non-profit organization called EQ for Peace, dedicated to bringing emotional education to schools, work, and homes everywhere. Join us in welcoming Mr. Matt and get ready to expand and enhance your life by learning about your own powerful feelings and emotions. So please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm going to offer a presentation. I'll get that going now. Here we go. Thank you for joining and taking your time to learn about yourself and about emotional intelligence. We only have 1 hour to change your life forever. We have much to cover, and I'm going to go fast. Okay. Emotional intelligence is not complicated. In fact, it's quite simple, but it's not always easy. There's a lot to it. You'll be amazed actually to find that there's an entire world that you may not be aware of that lies within you and me and others. So I'm going to, if some of you would leave your cameras on, I would appreciate it, that I don't feel alone looking at a bunch of black boxes on the screen. Thank you. And I'm going to be asking you some questions. So please think about your answers and feel about your answers. And if some of you would share in the chat, it would make it more powerful for you and more fun for me. So thank you. And here we go. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay, great. All right. The first step in learning about emotional intelligence is awareness. Always the first step is awareness, because we can't do anything until we're aware of it, right? It's kind of like duh, but it's important. So awareness, mindfulness, consciousness, eyes open and hearts open, hopefully. So that's where we'll start. So let's start with awareness. You being aware of your own self right now. So do a quick check-in with yourself. What are you feeling right now? What are you feeling? See if you can be aware of it, identify it. What are you feeling right now? Here's some help. You can identify specifically what you're feeling. It's very helpful. And always accept whatever you find there without denying it and blowing it up and stuffing it and lying about it, and a lot of things people do with emotions because it's not culturally very accepted in our societies. Yours are ours. But it's really helpful to be able to describe your inner world, at least to yourself. So see if you can become aware of and identify and accept your emotions inside of you. So if you would maybe put something in the chat. It's optional, but see if you can figure out some of these, okay? So in the next hour, here we go. I'm going to introduce you to the incredible power and wonder of EQ, convince you to make your feelings and emotions much more important in your daily life, inspire you, hopefully, to learn as much as you can about your inner world. We don't learn about this in school. I was really upset with I was unhappy with my schooling, as was mentioned, because I didn't learn that much about me. I learned about all this good stuff, but not about me. And so it's really important that I become to respect my inner world and the inner world of others, because it seems to be the key to my happiness, our sanity, our mental health, and success in life, all of them, all because we're of emotions. And people are shocked to hear that, but it really is true. So check it out. So I'm also going to ask you to share this information with those around you, with people you work with, the people you school with, the people you care about. Okay, we're going to do all that in an hour. Ready? Hang on. I'm going to try anyway. So what is it? What's EQ and why do you care? EQ is just about being smarter about our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions. Our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions. I'm using feelings and emotions interchangeably. So they're basically, they're a little bit different, but it doesn't matter right now, really. What matters is that they're important. And I realize that I want you to be smarter about your own feelings, and realize that other people are they're a big deal to them as well. If you care about what other people think and feel, guess what? They really like that, and so it helps your relationships. So so make it an important part of your life and your relationships. And it definitely seems to be the key to personal and professional success. It's wild that it can affect us professionally also, but it does. It's that important. EQ is just a set of skills and language and competencies, being able to do things that allow us to respond rather than react to life. Okay, that's very, very simplified, but basically what reacting is when you, habitual, automatic, you're just doing, you're reacting, versus responding. When you respond, you're a little more intentional, you're more purposeful, you put some wisdom and experience into your decisions and your actions, and it changes everything. So the difference is the place in between there is emotional intelligence, not reacting, but wait, I can think about this. Wait, I can use both my thoughts and my feelings to make good decisions. And that's what we're trying to do. So 6seconds.org is one of the largest, they are the largest EQ trainer in the world. You might check out their website. They say people drive performance and emotions drive people. So if you want to do well at work, if you want to be successful and as a job, as a leader, as a company, etc., manage your emotions. So knowing that we can respond brings us inner peace. That's where we're going with this, is inner peace. Knowing that we can respond brings us inner peace. EQ, which I'm going to show you some about, is the tools, but peace is the goal. So basically there are different types of success, like financial success and spiritual success, but emotional success is called inner peace. So that's where we're going with this, is we're trying to create peace in our own lives and in our relationships, in and around us. Okay, we're calling it positive mental health, like positive psychology. Positive mental health begins with inner peace, but you got to find it. I can't tell you how to do inner peace. I can't tell you that. You got to find it, you got to build it, and you got to create it. All right, so it's about managing your emotions. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. You're in charge of you, and that brings us peace. If we are not in control, if we think it's the government and the school and our teachers and our parents and all that who are doing it to us and making us feel this way, they're making us feel this way, that's not going to go well. You're going to end up being a whiner, blamer, victim, and it's not good. It's not good. But if you can say, this is mine, they're my emotions, they're my thoughts, they're my feelings, my inner world, I get to be in charge of them, then you are in charge of your life. Otherwise, you're not. So take just a second. We're going for inner peace, right? So take just a second here and picture a time in your past when you felt totally at peace inside of you. Take a second and do that. Find a place when you felt really good inner peace. What was happening? What did it look like? And what did it sound like? And most importantly, what did it feel like? See if you can identify a time, because it's really helpful to have a goal, to know what that goal is, to be able to experience it. And you can pull this back up inside of you anytime you need to. But find a place where you found inner peace. Got it? You can share it in the chat, would be great. Some words or some feeling about that. And then also in the future. So you've got a picture of your past, a real picture. Now create a picture in your future. Imagine yourself feeling totally happy and peaceful. What's happening? Somebody mentioned watching the rising sun. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Like that. Just calm. Everything's fine. Right this minute, everything's fine. All right. I felt inner peace when I was out in an open field and calm and quiet. Isn't that great? So if we want to go there, we got to have a picture and a feeling about where that is in our body. So try to create a picture in your head. Imagine the sounds of it, and especially the feeling of it. Okay. So I'm more peaceful just saying that. I started to calm myself down. That's pretty neat. So EQ is about, we're going to try to create this inner peace, right? So it's about studying ourselves, studying me and you and we together, right? It's metacognition, we call it, which means it's thinking about what we're thinking about, and meta emotion, I'm not sure that's even a word, I might have made that up, is feeling about what we're feeling about. So we're looking at ourselves and noticing what we're thinking, feeling, deciding, values, actions, all that stuff, our inner world. It's about managing ourselves. Again, stuff that I didn't learn in school. We've kind of been making it up as we go along since then. I'm calling it positive mental health because you probably know some, maybe hopefully, about positive psychology. Positive psychology said for many, many years that the purpose of therapy and psychology was to get people from negative when they were having problems back to normal, okay? Which means they went from negative to zero, kind of, if you were charting it, right? Well, but positive psychology said, and Dr. Seligman said, we can do better than that. We don't have to stop at normal. We can learn to be positive. We can learn to be loving and peaceful and resilient and powerful and successful by learning more about ourselves, going inside and learning about our psychology. Same thing with mental health. We don't have to just have problems and maybe deal with those problems and be back to normal, because normal is not all that much fun anyway. Back to normal. We can do better than that. We can learn to go up from there. We can learn from successes of others, and we can learn from our own successes and failures to be better, to do better. We can find this peace. So what that looks like is that we have to deal with the negatives because they're coming. They're coming. You're going to have negative feelings and stuff is going to happen. Stuff is happening. If you get out of bed in the morning, stuff's going to happen, and it does. So you're going to have negatives. We got to learn how to deal with those so that we can not only get up to normal, but we can go above those. We can do better than that. We can create positives in our lives on purpose. Pretty cool, huh? So that we were born, we'll start at the beginning. We were born with only a few fears. If we do nature versus nurture, were we born this way or did we learn it? Well, we are born with only a few fears and no anger, right? Little babies are not usually angry yet. We are, so what that means is that whatever we're afraid of now or angry about now, we kind of made it up. We picked it up along the way, kind of. So it's a nurture thing. It's not that we were born with all this commotion. We're actually born with everything we need. We just need to learn how to use it. And that's what we're doing here. That's why emotional intelligence is so cool. And it's so powerful, and it's so basically free because it's just information. It's just understanding. It's education. It's being able to teach ourselves how to deal with ourselves and how to deal with others. We can do it. We know we have the tools. We have the tools. We need the education and the how-to, the steps, that sort of thing. So babies are born usually pretty calm, right? We have a new granddaughter who's 3 months old now, I think, and she's a wonderfully calm, loving, sweet girl as long as her needs are met. That's her natural state, and it's so cool to watch that because it validates a bunch of stuff that I've been teaching. I'm like, look, see, she just came out that way. As long as she's not hungry, angry, or hungry, tired, wet, that sort of thing, she's fine and she's great and she's calm, right? But what happens? What happens? Well, as we grow up, we're taught that our negative feelings are, we don't talk about them. We don't learn about how to deal with them in school. Our parents don't want to talk about them. We better not deal with them at work, right? We better not deal with them at work. So so what do we do with them? We make it up on our own. We have to make up how to deal with our own self on our own. And that's tough. That's tough. Sometimes we figure it out, sometimes we don't. And that's what prompted me to jump into this business, is because I realized that a lot of people don't know how to deal with it with themselves. I sure didn't, and they don't either. And so I like, okay, well, I'm starting to figure some of this out. Maybe I can share that. Maybe we can do better. Maybe we can figure out some ways and kind of sum it up into steps so even little kids can understand how to deal with their emotions. It's not rocket science. It's simple, but it ain't easy sometimes, man. So what it boils down to is if we can deal with the positives, with the negatives, we can get back to the positives, our natural state. That's our natural state, is to be positive, which is pretty cool, I think. So as children, we start off with high EQ and it's downhill from there, basically. Sometimes quickly from trauma. Sometimes our family isn't very cool about it. Sometimes just plain old normal life is happening and other kids can be really mean and stuff happens and we don't ever deal with it. So it's downhill. We start stuffing it. We start telling ourselves things that aren't necessarily true about it. We don't know. And then when we get to be adults, we have no idea how to deal with the big emotions. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can learn to do it different. We can get some education and reverse the downward spiral. We really can. This is very, very, very good news. I think this is one of the reasons I love doing these talks and doing EQ is one of my favorite things in my life because it's such good news. We have so much bad news nowadays, right? So much bad news. But this is really good news because if we don't like what we're thinking and feeling, if they're not working for us, what's going on inside of it, we can change it. We can manage ourselves. We can do things with ourselves, in ourselves, that changes things, changes everything. That's the key to positive mental health, and that's the key to us succeeding. Things don't go well, we can learn about it and end up doing and figure out how to do it different, better, more successful. To me, it's very, very, very good news, and it's very, very free, which I also like. As was mentioned, Vice Chancellor, thank you for a great introduction. Mentioned about we talked about self-awareness first. Okay, be aware of myself. Self-management. Okay, once I'm aware of me, I got to manage me, what's going on inside. One of those things is empathy is huge in this. I run a bunch of EQ groups on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we ask questions about what's the most important EQ skill. Empathy, and that includes empathy for ourselves and others, or both, right? It's really hard to be very empathetic of others if we're harsh on ourselves and mean on ourselves. Sometimes we are. Watch your inner voice and your self-talk, because some people are just vicious to themselves and then they try to be nice to others, and it's really hard. and plus, you don't want to live like that. That's awful. And we're not born that way. You learn that and you can unlearn it, please. So emotional intelligence also helps us manage stress. And 3 of my favorite skills, the power of EQ: resilience, perseverance, and grit. You know what resilience is and perseverance is. Grit. You know what grit is? Grit is, you know what, this is going to be really hard and I can do it. I'm going to do it anyway. And I know it's going to hurt. This is going to really stink, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's grit. That's power. That is survival. That is us making stuff happen. We're using our emotions and our thoughts to make stuff happen in our lives. So there's 3 basic steps to EQ. Again, super simple, not always easy. First is always awareness. Like I said, awareness. Okay, what's happening? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What's going on? What's happening around me? What are other people thinking and feeling? I know it's just a guess sometimes, but we got to be aware of what's going on around us. So awareness, right? And then just takes a second, but acceptance, as I mentioned earlier, acceptance is huge. Accepting what's happening, accepting ourselves, accepting the responsibility for what's happening, etc. Acceptance is very, very critical to this whole thing. And then once we're aware and we accept what's happening, we get to decide, are we going to take action or not? Are we going to do something with this and about this or not? There's a difference, by the way, between doing something with and doing something about. About is an action, with is feelings and emotions. So very important, 3 steps to high EQ. So here's the best news of all of this. Not only can we change it, but it is ours. They are emotions, our thoughts, our feelings, our decisions, our actions are ours. That is super good news. That's the best news. That was the life changer for me, is knowing that I get to manage me. I have to, but I get to. Well, I guess I don't have to, but anyway, yeah, I get to. I choose to, let's put it that way, because this puts me in control of my life. I guess I'm kind of a control freak in that area, and I'm okay with that, because I want to be in control of me. I want to really bad. And so I realized that my thoughts, I generated them, I created them, I get to manage them, my thoughts and my feelings, both. Pretty cool, right? It puts me in control of my life. Or, like I said, if you don't buy this, then you become, I was before, whiner, blamer, victim. No buenos. And it starts with education, and I didn't have any, so you guys are getting some right now, and hopefully you will continue it. But it's saying education, Aristotle said educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. I think that's a little bit severe. We still have to educate our mind also, but you get the point, is that we especially need to educate our heart, because we got plenty of education on our mind. Now we have to actively, consciously go find some more EQ education. You're not going to get it just automatically. You've already been through what? You guys are in college, so you've already been through 12, 13, 14, 15 years of school on cognitive, but we got to deal with the emotion too, so you might have to go look for it. So that's on you.
Please mute Aryan. Please mute Aryan. It's his mic that is creating disturbance.
We mentioned this briefly before. Self-awareness first. EQ is also called social emotional learning, and so in schools, a lot of times it's called SEL. So that's what this is about. Dr. Daniel Goleman started the big drive for EQ back in 1995. You might look him up. So it starts with self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills between us, and the most important in mine is the responsible decision, or just good decision making. I don't know, responsible is a tough word because that's kind of a judgment call, but good decision making, and good decisions come from both our thoughts and our feelings. I'll go back more into that in a minute, but check this out. Here's the coolest thing. There are so many benefits to EQ. There's so many benefits. It gives us choices. It gives us freedom. It gives us personal power when we need it. It gives us ability to love and open up our heart. We can create intimacy, or if people are not safe, we can close down. We get that choice. We get to manage our heart. So we can open wide up and have love and intimacy in our life, or we can protect ourselves, but it's up to us, and we're in control. It gets us the results that we need. We want to be successful. You learn about your emotions and your thoughts and those of others. You want to lead. You want to be powerful and lead. At least lead your own life, to manage your own life. Learn about yourself, right? Celebration, self-esteem, self-love, self-care. It gives it, you can find your purpose for living. That's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. I can tell you, as mentioned, I have a nonprofit now, and I'm real clear what my purpose is. I wish that for you too, that you would find purpose as clearly and as powerfully as I have. It's been phenomenal for me, absolutely wonderful. I didn't used to be like this. I used to be kind of shut down, and I used to be shy and quiet. I didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't want to be seen all that much, that kind of thing. So, but I decided, you know what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to live that way. I don't want to live like this. So I kind of, and now you see what I'm doing in front of a bunch of people, making a fool of myself. But I'm okay with that because if I can deal with my negative feelings, then I can do all kinds of things. If I can just deal with my negative feelings, if this doesn't go well, if I get rejected, I get put down, I get, any negative, all the negative stuff that might happen, if I can deal with that, then I can risk more. I can be more powerful. I can be more out there. I can make things happen. I can have more relationships and better relationships. I can do all kinds of things if I am okay with the possibility that things aren't going to go well, because I can deal with it. If you can't deal with it, you gotta stay like that. I don't like that. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. So we're shooting for inner peace first, interpersonal peace between us, and social peace among us. Someday maybe global peace. That's the point of our nonprofit. So you want to be successful at work. You hardly ever do people only work by themselves. Sometimes, but very rarely do they work only by themselves. You want to do teamwork. You want to have relationships, good communication, good fit in with everybody and make things happen together. Then you learn about your thoughts and your feelings, right? And then the other thing about the big part about emotional or mental health is that we can heal stuff. We can heal our past. If you have pain, you have anger from your past, you have sadness and maybe trauma, stuff happens to us. It doesn't have to be a big ugly thing that in the world, but to us it was huge. To us it hurt bad, or to us it made us so angry or so rejected or so depressed, whatever. We can deal with that. We can deal with the negatives and come back up and learn to love ourselves, learn to forgive ourselves, learn to release the negatives and go back to positives. And a little later on, I'm going to go through these steps that you can go from negative to positive in your body. It's really cool. Watch this. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We're working on or deal with our past so that we can live as powerfully as we can in the present and create the best future that we can for ourselves and those we love. Bottom line, emotions matter more than you ever thought possible, probably. I'm hoping that by the end of this that you're thinking, you know what, they do matter. Emotions do matter. Mine matter. Other people's matter. Let's pay more attention to them. That's what I'm hoping for you. This is kind of how it works with your brain, as you know, is split in two hemispheres. Generally, our left brain is our logic, our sequential thinking, right? Our analytical side, in our left brain. But our right brain, the one that we don't pay much attention to, is where our emotions are, our passion, our creativity, our peace, our love, that kind of stuff is all in the right brain. And we don't pay much attention to that. And that's just kind of a shame because it's a beautiful part of our body and our beautiful part of our life. So what we're trying to do is balance the two. We're trying to balance the two. I'm not saying that emotions are more important than our cognitive brain. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we need to balance them, right? We're already, like this guy here, he's pretty good. We're pretty good at IQ because we've been learning it in school our whole lives, but we're not very good at EQ. So we need to boost it up. We are kind of here and this is down and we need to boost it up on purpose, consciously. Spend some time working on you and learning more about your emotions. Please, because then you can soar like this guy. Otherwise, the guy on the left, he's going to fly around in circles. So, and the way you balance yourself is that you ask yourself, this is what for my decision-making thing, I was saying how important that is that, does it make sense? Logically, does what I'm going to do make sense? And does it feel good or does it feel right? Does it feel right? Our intuitively, our gut feeling, does it feel right or is it wrong? Wrong. I mean, there are some things we're deciding about that they don't make much. If they're not balanced, stuff that makes good sense, but it feels awful, or It feels really good, like addictions and some of the things that we're not supposed to be doing. They feel really good, but they don't make any sense at all. And that's this way and this way. Let's try balance, all right, to get our decision making. That's how we make things happen in our lives, possibly or probably. So I probably should have put this earlier, but this is a big part of the whole thing, is that the reason, one of the reasons that we're getting so popular now, why EQ is so popular now, it's one of the biggest problems in the world. They're figuring out that lack of emotional education leads to all these bad things, violence and abuse and addictions, and the suicide rate, you guys probably know. I don't know. They're trying not to talk about it too much, but in India and in the United States, it's increasing pretty rapidly. And that's the ultimate, to me, of not knowing how to deal with your emotions, not knowing how. We were talking about the other day with the leaders of this group of the club that what was I going to say?
Diversity.
Well, anyway, it leads to divorce and mental health issues and physical health issues and all of that. What is I going to say about suicide? Because that's a really important part of this whole thing. What we're doing, what's happened with COVIDs is that people are getting put in a room by themselves, right? You guys have probably experienced that. It's called lockdown. Well, in the bad people in the United States, at least, go to jail, right? Hopefully they go to jail and we put them away from society. The bad worst of them, we do what's called solitary confinement. We stick them in a room by themselves and let them sit there by themselves. That's the meanest, harshest thing we can do to people besides hurting them or punishment and killing them, is that we put people in a room by themselves. Well, in mental health, in criminal justice, that's called solitary confinement, but in mental health, it's called, or in the world today, it's called lockdown. And so people are not doing well with the lockdowns. We are social beings and we need to be together and we need to connect with people. And sitting in a room by ourselves, it does not go well with just our thoughts and feelings and not knowing how to deal with them. It gets out of control pretty quickly and people go, you know what? I can't deal with this. That's what they tell us. I can't deal with this. It's never going to end. I'm out of here. But it can end, and you can do it differently, and you don't have to do that. You can learn more about your emotions and gets much, much better. So 3 basic parts of emotional intelligence: thoughts, feelings, action, right? Which is head, heart, hand is another way to put it, or left brain, right brain, body, however you want to do it. But that's all there is to it, kind of. There's one really important piece missing in it. This is 6 seconds again, by the way, if you go to 6seconds.org. The one big piece in here that's missing is decisions, thoughts, feelings. We think about stuff, we have feelings, and then we decide to act or not. So the decision part is the part where we have all the power and control, and that's what gives us their emotional intelligence. It all starts with our thoughts. Usually our feelings are based on our thoughts. If we think we're safe and accepted and loved and stuff, we're going to have pretty good feelings, right? If we think we're not safe and we're rejected and we're alone and it's going to stink, then we have pretty bad feelings to go along with it. It starts with our thoughts. So work on your thoughts, be aware of your thoughts, notice your thoughts, awareness, acceptance, action, right? Aware of your thoughts, accept them. Yeah, I just thought that. And then the action a lot of times is, you know what? I don't want to think that. I want a better thought. I'm going to consciously make a better thought to replace my yucky thought. And after a while, that can get to be a habit, and you start thinking that way automatically first. Sometimes you have to catch yourself first, but after a while, it can become a positive. It's really helpful, like we did earlier about the feelings, to know tons of words to be able to describe your inner world to yourself and others, but especially to yourself. So here's a place, there's thousands of words in the English language to describe our feelings. But what I also find helpful, what I also find very, very helpful is to kind of sum it up to the big 3: fear, anger, and sadness. reality is, and if we can deal with our fear, our anger, and our sadness, just those three, there's nothing that life can throw at us that we can't handle. So if you can learn about your own fear and your own anger and what makes you really sad, and you can deal with those things, then you can do all kinds of beautiful stuff with your life. And again, negative going up to positive. The upside of that is joy, peace, and love, which are very different, it turns out. They're all very positive. They all feel good. But there's different strategies to pulling off each one of those, depending on which one's important to you. My wife and I had a little disagreement one time. It wasn't small, but we had to work through, is that her main goal in life is peace. She wants things to be calm and steady and calm, right? My big goal in life, as you can probably tell, is joy. I want things to be happy and exciting and fun and that kind of thing. So she's down here, I'm up here, and we're missing each other. And there's nothing wrong with her way of doing it, and there's nothing wrong with my way of doing it. But we gotta work it together. And it turns out that they're very different, and you gotta work them together. So here's more good news. This is what this puts you in control of your life. No matter what happens outside of you, we have the power to control what happens inside of you. We have the power to control that. Here's how it works. Stuff happens, right? Like I said, when you get out of bed in the morning, stuff happens. Things are going to go well. Things are not going to go well. Just stuff happens. Even if you don't get out of bed, stuff's going to happen, right? That's out here. We then have a thought and a feeling about what happened. What did we just do? We just took the outside world and we brought it in. Now it's ours. We had a thought and we have a feeling. Now it's ours. Now it's our responsibility. Now it's ours to deal with. And that's a good thing. So how do we deal with stuff? Now we have thoughts and feelings. What do we deal with them? First, awareness. Second, acceptance. Yeah, okay. All right. Yep, I had that. And yeah, okay. All right. I had that. Now, how to go? Evaluate it. Do I like it? Do I want it? Is that a good thought? Is that a good feeling? Is those stuff I want? Is that something I want to change? Decision. What am I going to do with this? What am I going to do about it? How do I handle this? Right? And we get to decide. This is all inside, and this gives us the power to run our own lives. Once we're aware and we accept, we get to decide every single time. It's really cool. Then we're deciding whether to take action or not. If we take an action, we're now back outside, right? The stuff happened outside. We brought it inside. We process it, and then it comes back outside in our actions or non-actions, right? Sometimes with strong emotions, sometimes being no action is a good action, and that's okay. That's okay. But what's cool about it is that you are deciding. We get to decide not to do something or to do something, but we get to decide. And then of course those decisions become a bunch of actions, become our behaviors and who we are and our what we do. And of course that's the life results that we get based on what we do, right? So it's all based on our decisions, which is based on us being aware and accepting our emotions and our thoughts, because they're there and they're happening 24/7, 365, whether you like it or not, they're happening. We got to learn how to deal with them, right? It just kind of sums it up. Thoughts and feelings are our inner world. Our actions and our results are our outer world. That's how this relates to success in our lives. So, okay, let's do a quick quiz, shall we? I would like it if you would. I'm going to give you 7 questions, and you just do 1 through 5. Rate yourself 1 through 5 on those 7 questions, okay? And if you would go ahead and put the number in the chat. You don't have to be real descriptive. Just throw the number in the chat, okay? So 1 is low, 5 is high. 1 is no. 3 is so. 5 is definitely, okay? So just 1 through 5. From no to yes. All right, ready? Here goes the first question. So awareness, right? Awareness first, always. When your body feels something like fear or anger or sadness or shame or guilt, how well do you notice and become aware of your feelings? How aware are you of your feelings? So 1 through 5 in the chat, go. All right, here we go. threes, fours, twos. This is not a competition, you guys. So it's just self-awareness thing, and we're not judging it, right? So we're just great. All right. A lot of good stuff. Keep going. Good. Okay. So mostly 3, 4, 5. Okay. So awareness. Second, surprise, acceptance. Is it okay with you when you feel sad or mad or afraid? How well do you accept your feelings versus judging and denying them? So first we're aware, and then we make big judgments about it, right? A lot of times. Or we go, it's just a speed of thought. We go, okay. All right, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling. That's okay with me. All right, a little bit lower now. I've seen 2s, 3s, 4s, a little bit lower. That's pretty normal, you guys, in our societies, is that, no, we don't accept all the negative stuff at all. So that's good that we got 3, 4s, and 5s, actually. So awareness and then acceptance. All right, going to the next one. Identification. Okay, you're aware of it and you accept it, and now when you notice that you're feeling something, how well can you identify the feeling? What is it? Like that wheel at the very beginning, how well can you identify it? How can you separate things? Like especially guys tend to get fear and anger mixed up, and they think they're angry, but it's actually fear. Not just guys, but a lot of people do that. So learning how to identify the feeling, again, mostly for you, but also to describe your inner world to other people is very, very helpful. So identification, that is sadness. Oh, okay. And like I said, it's really helpful to boil down sadness, anger, and fear. Those three, I'm like, oh, okay, that's anger. All right, just identify it. Okay, here comes the next one. Now that you identify it, how well do you express your feelings and let them out of your body as opposed to stuffing them down or bottling them up inside? All right, this is a little bit trickier for some people. Again, our societies don't really like it too much. And this is tricky anyway. It is, how do you express yourself to people, not to people? Do you just get stuff out of you and nobody's around? That's okay. That kind of thing. So expression is really tricky, and it's something you can hopefully learn to master in the rest of your life. Actually, I don't know if you ever actually master it because it's situational. How do I express how much? I have a quote about being angry is easy. Being angry at the right time, at the right volume, using the right words to the right person at the right time, that's tricky, right? So expressing feelings is easy. Expressing them powerfully and effectively is not so easy. Well, it's simple. Well, yeah, it's simple, but it's not easy. Okay, so once your body feels the negative feeling, how well can you let go of that feeling and let it dissipate? Or do you hang on to it and keep it inside of you? 1 through 5, how well are you at releasing your feelings, especially the yucky ones that you don't like? Some people stay angry for a long time. Some people stay fearful for a long, long time, and it stays in your body and it gets stuck there and it's not feel good. We can let go of yucky stuff and let it go. We don't need to hang on to it. We don't need to be right about stuff. Sometimes we're like, oh yeah, but he did this to me. Yeah, but he did this to me. Yeah, I know that's just wrong. He did this to me. Okay, but the thing might be bad, but you don't have to keep that inside of you. That's not helpful, unless maybe. Usually, it's not helpful. So release is hard. Someone said my anger goes, but sadness stays. Yeah. Well, my guess is you're not crying enough. It's really simple. Sometimes we just gotta cry. Sometimes we just gotta scream. Nobody has to be around, but we need to let it out of our body. And we don't have to be angry at somebody. We don't have to be angry on somebody, but sometimes we need to be angry. And then let it go. It's called feel it to heal it. It was mentioned in the intro. Okay, now once we express that negative feeling, there's a space there, and we can let it go, and there's a space there. How skilled are you replacing your negative feeling with a positive one, right? Once we get that, okay, now I've got to open this. Now I got a space there. I can add love and joy and peace into that space and fill myself back up consciously. Again, positive mental health. We can fill ourselves back up with peace, love, and joy as much as you want, anytime you want, to replace that negative junk. I was going to use a worse word, but junk that sits inside of us. Learn to get good at this one. It's tricky, but it's, again, super simple, but sometimes it's hard. But you take that space, we hold our fear and our anger a lot of times inside our body. We keep it there, and it takes up room, and it's there. I mean, you can't see it, but you can feel it when it's gone. And you can take that and take it out of you. You can imagine it gone. There's a whole version of psychology called neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And it's about how we keep emotions in, how we bring them in, how we store them, how we access them, how we release them, how we let them go. And you just kind of imagine, it looks like you're imagining it. It looks like you're just making it up. You are, and that's okay. That's okay. You're letting stuff go. We have a space. We fill it with love from I use my higher power. Give me, how much do I need? Sometimes a color. Just replace it with a color, like a really nice light blue or green. We live in the woods, and green, there's green everywhere, of trees and ferns and stuff. And I can take that color and bring it inside of me, and it feels wonderful, and bring some peace to myself and fill up that space that was left by the negative. So good, excellent. Okay, here comes the last one. Ta-da! How'd you do? How skilled are you replacing your negative? Oh, wait, sorry. Rejoice. How well do you encourage and respect your true feelings, complimenting yourself on your awareness and your expression and your release? How good are you at self? What do you call it? Self-assessment. Well, no, I don't know. Anyway, it's about encouraging yourself and being proud of yourself for making things happen and for dealing things well. All right. Some people work in that department. Good. Okay, so add them up. Let's see how you did. Here we are. It was awareness. I'm aware of stuff. I accept it. I can identify what happened. I can express it. I can release it. I can replace it, and then I can feel good about it and celebrate. So how'd it go? Add them up. The higher is better, of course. If you do have high emotional intelligence, check out how'd you learn it. Put your total score in the chat if you would. How'd you learn how to have emotional intelligence? How'd you do that? Because you probably weren't taught it in school, so you probably had to make it up on your own. 25 plus. 15 to 24, somewhere in between. You're pretty good, not great. You got some work to do, and that's okay. And then if you're really low, then you got some work to do. You're probably not very happy, maybe. And there's plenty of learning to be done. Google emotional intelligence, and you will see some incredible amount of stuff now. If you hadn't heard about this before, you will. I guarantee it, because it is super popular. So anybody have their total score in the chat? I'm not seeing any. Okay. All right. So what do you think? This is called reflection, right? This is another important part of EQ. Well, how'd it go? You're looking back at your past, looking at your results and your behaviors, and going, how did that go? What went well? What didn't go well? What could I do different in the future? That kind of thing. How can I do it better in the future? That's emotional intelligence skill. So that's just a fun little quiz. I think it gives you ability to see how to process negative emotions into positives, and give you an idea how you're doing in each area at the same time. So I like this quiz. That's why I took the time to do it. Okay, let me keep going. I'm sorry I'm going so fast, but we don't have much time. Safety, safety, safety. This is all about safety, you guys. Safety. We got to find and create safe places for ourselves. Sometimes our parents didn't make it very safe. Sometimes other people around us don't make it very safe. Find someone that's you're safe with, so that you can be yourself. Or don't, do it by yourself. Make it safe for yourself. Sometimes people, like I was saying, have this nasty negative self-talk inside of them, or they have very, very limiting belief systems of, I don't fit in, I don't matter, I'm not very smart, nobody likes me, that kind of stuff. Don't do that to yourself. I mean, notice it, go through those 7 steps, right? Awareness, acceptance. Yeah, I'm doing that. And my action is knock it off. My action is make a different thought about that. Do better than that. And then let go of the negative feelings and replace them with the positives. And same with other people in your relationships. If you can make it safe for them, if you can shut up and listen to people, they will be your best buddy. You will be super valuable to them if you will listen to them and care about what they think and feel. And please, if you would, like I said earlier, commit to yourself that you're going to learn more about EQ, changing some things. What are you going to do different in the future? Maybe write it down for yourself, or make some mental notes about what you want to do different in the future, so that you can have higher emotional intelligence. Step 1 is empathy. You first, right? Find role models. Watch people. I love watching people. I watch TV a fair amount and the movies, and what I'm looking for is good role models for how to handle emotions, and really bad role models. There's some really bad ones in movies. I'm sure you've seen it on TV. And friends, and just watching people is find positive role models, and that's on you. Again, emotional responsibility. It's on you to find them. They're not going to find you, probably. Finding a buddy. Go through this. You don't have to do it alone. Some people call it a peace partner. We're trying to create peace together. And some people, it's called a battle buddy. That's what the U.S. Army calls it, as a battle buddy. It's like how we're going to go into battle. Let's be buddies doing this. All right. We both got it rough. It's going to be a hard time. Let's do it together. Okay. Relationship skills. One of the biggest relationship skills in EQ is our ability to open our heart or close our heart. And that is so powerful to me. Again, that was a life changer for me, as I realized that I can be wide open, and super loving, and super and feel loved by other people, especially like the kids and such. And it's a wonderful feeling. But if I'm not safe, then I can close down and be okay. I call this opening up, listening with soul, which is stop, open up, and listen, or stop, open up, and love. All right. So the S could be also shut up, open up, and listen. I used to say that, but stop was better. Close your mouth, open your heart, be just with the person. Use I messages. This is a big deal too, is that a lot of people are, you did this and you did that and blah, blah, blah. No, I felt this when you did that. That changes things, right? You can't argue with that. I felt this when you did this. I'm not arguing it. Doesn't make an argument. I think, I want, I believe, I would like, I appreciate, I understand, I suggest is a real powerful one. Not you should, not your dog if you don't do something, but I suggest you do this differently. It's a very powerful statement. I use it all the time. I have a judgment about, right? This is you taking responsibility for your own inner world and using that in a conversation where much less conflict. At work, I think I mentioned EQ now is huge in so many businesses. They're now hiring by EQ, not as much as IQ. They used to give all these IQ tests, and they're like, wait, if you graduated from college, or you're in college, or you graduated from college, you probably have a decent IQ. I don't need to study that. But can you get along with people? Can you make commitments? Can you communicate? Can you stick around? Can you be honest? That kind of thing. Those are EQ skills. That's what I want to know. That's what the employers are testing for now, at big time, like at Amazon and Google. big time. In Google, they don't do IQ testing at all because they know that once you graduated from college, you're going to be okay, right? But how can you get along? How are you going to do with everybody else? So super important. There's a science left brain. There's an art how to of EQ. I didn't go into the science about the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex and the science of it. I learn about that. It's cool. It's happening. Our emotions are real and they're happening inside of our bodies physiologically. It's very important. But I think the most important, even more important, is the art of it, which is, okay, so that's what my body's doing. What do I do about that? What do I do about that? What do I do with that? That's the art to it. And then you put the left brain and right brain together, the science and the art to it, and you get magic. You get magic. So I mentioned before about inner peace, interpersonal peace, and social peace. That's what we're working on for a nonprofit. EQ can teach all three of those things. We can teach all three of those. And we're hoping that someday, if enough people know how to create peace in and around themselves, we'll have big global peace. What do you think? Maybe? That's what we're banking on. That's what we're going for. I just came up with this yesterday. I thought it was fun, so I thought I'd throw them in there. 3 C's of peace. So commit to yourself, to keep learning about yourself and EQ. Commit. Connect with others. Very important, very important. You don't want to stay alone. And if you are alone, it's on you to find safe people, find people to hang around with. It can be just online. They have proven now that through Zoom or through social media, obviously social media is unbelievably popular, right? That you can feel loved when never meet the person, never see the person ever, meet them in person ever. And you can feel just as loved and just as cared for and just as belonging. So connect somehow, please. And then create. That's up to you. Create peace in and around you. So connect. What do you guys think about that? I just made it up yesterday while I was writing. That's like, anyway, I like it. So world peace begins with inner peace. Here's a wonderful quote from the Dalai Lama. The question of real lasting world peace concerns human beings as basic human feelings are also at its root. Through inner peace, genuine world peace can be achieved. That's the point of our nonprofit. That's the concept, is that we're teaching EQ for the purpose of inner peace, for the big purpose of world peace. In this importance of individual responsibility is quite clear. An atmosphere of peace must first be created within ourselves, then gradually expanded to include our families, our communities, and ultimately the whole planet. This is perfect. This quote sums it up so beautifully. So we're about done. Here's some things I'd like you to take away from this. 1, accept emotional responsibility. If you don't get anything else out of this, please, please, please. They're your thoughts, they're your feelings, and they're your actions, your decisions, your values, your attitudes, your words, all of that stuff is yours. They're yours. Don't blame other people for them. They're yours. They're yours, and you get to manage them. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And it puts you in control of your life. Otherwise, it doesn't go so well. We can't not think and we can't not feel. We can try, but we can't. And so let's get good at both of them. We do 24/7, even when we're sleeping. Both of them are going. So get good at those. Learn more as you can about EQ. Learn about yourself. Learn about others. Share, model, etc. And third is share it. Please. Most of this stuff, we didn't learn it in school. Most people do not know what we're talking about. And so it's really important that we share it with someone else. With great power comes great responsibility. I love that quote. You know which movie that's from? But it's really true. If you know about EQ and most people don't, please share it with someone else, anyone else. It doesn't matter, but please share it. And here's some resources. I'll give this PowerPoint to the leaders, and we can disseminate it if you like. There's a bunch of links in here. And if you would, maybe I'm done. This is the end of it. Join our mailing list so we can stay in touch with you if you like. There's so much I'd love to teach you right now, but we don't have the time. You couldn't take it all in anyway, all in one sitting. But please commit to yourself that you keep working on yourself, not just your mind, but also your heart. They both matter. Take some time to specifically work at learning about you, and it will pay you dividends forever. All right. So questions. I know I went too long, but I apologize, but there's so much more. I got so much more. I had to cut it way down. So questions, comments, where do you want to go with us next? Here's some, they say exceptions are actually where problems lie. How do you stop expecting when it comes to your close ones? How do you feel when those expectations are not met? Is there any way to become less emotionally sensitive? How do I stay consistent in my emotions without getting overwhelmed and panicking? Oh, good. Those are good questions. And a number of questions all in one. I again learn how to deal with your emotions, your negative emotions. I suggest you learn how to allow yourself to cry. I suggest you learn how to allow yourself to be really angry sometimes. You don't need anybody around you, but we do a thing in our workshops called the empty chair exercise, which basically is just that. You put an empty chair in the middle of the room, you stand up, you picture someone, the person that you're upset with, in that chair. They're not there. They do not have to be there. You picture them in there and you say what you need to say to them, or you feel what you need to feel around them. And the point of it is venting, is to get it out of you. There's a difference between complaining and venting. You ever heard that before? Complaining is and I got it rough and it's terrible and blah 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 blah, and you feel worse when you're done, and the person you're talking to feels worse when you're done. Or you can vent and you can go, no, I'm angry about this. I am upset about this. I can't believe you did this, and it hurt my feelings. And you say it in a way that it releases. You feel the feeling and then you release it as you're saying it. And then you let it out of your body. You let it go. Replace it with good stuff, and you will feel so much better. And how much does that cost? Nothing. But be careful be careful. I mean, do it. The empty chair is about not having the person in the room. If you're going to have the person in the room, then it changes things. Anyway, what is your opinion in workplace spirituality and emotional intelligence? If it's okay in your workplace, then spirituality is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing if it's okay in your workplace. Some places it is, sometimes it's not. But you can usually you can do it quietly. You can do it inside of you. You can go in the bathroom for a minute and be as spiritual as you want to, and then come back out knowing that you're okay. It's inside of you, so nobody has to actually see you doing anything necessarily. That's kind of cool thing about EQ also. In our school curriculum, we don't have emotional intelligence training. Right, no kidding. According to you, what age should it be introduced to children? 0. 0. From little kids get this all the time. They get it, no problem. It's us that have a hard time with it. Little kids are like, oh, you go, you know what? If you're really upset, if you're really angry, if you're sad, cry. Let yourself cry. And kids go, oh, okay. Okay. It's not them, it's us that have the big judgments about it, and the culturally judgments about it. So I think we have it in preschools, we've got it in kindergarten, we got it in all the way up elementary, all of them, all the kids. So that's my answer, all of them. And we in our nonprofit are trying very hard to get emotional intelligence into schools. Like you guys are at the university level, and I'm super happy to be here and to be able to share this with you. But we can also do it in schools, and we do like that feeling check-in at the beginning. That was one of the most powerful things we found out in schools. That simple thing is you take a few minutes in the morning, and the teacher goes, so you put up on the board some feeling words and feeling faces. You do faces, happy face, sad face, etc., all the different faces, and you just go around the room. What are you feeling right now? One word. What are you feeling? And the kid that gives it gives awareness, it gives acceptance, it gives validation, it gives belonging, it gives kids' ability to not feel like they're broken or they're abnormal because they go, wow, I'm angry right now. And so is little Johnny. And so is so-and-so and so-and-so. And so, look, I'm not the only one. Huh? It's not that big a deal. It's just a feeling. And in the United States, you probably know is that when a lot of times when people have a big feeling, they got to go express it by shooting somebody or something stupid like that. And they go, there was a big shooting not too long ago near us, actually. And while the guy was shooting, somebody yelled out, "Why are you doing this?" And he yelled back, "Because I'm angry." Is that how you deal with your anger? You think he was taught how to deal with his anger in school? You go shoot people, right? No. Or people shoot themselves, right? Or kill themselves in some way because they're angry or because they're sad or because they're depressed, right? Is that how you deal with it? No, it's not. So learn how to deal with with your emotions, because there's some really bad ways of expressing them, as I'm sure you're aware. What else? More questions? How can we control our expectations? Expectations are a thought. Expectations are a thought, right? Not a feeling. They become a feeling, but they're a thought. One real important thing is to differentiate between, oh, that was a thought. If we have a judgment, we have an opinion, we have expectations, that kind of thing. Those are thoughts. Those are not feelings. They become feelings afterward, but the thought is I should, they should, we should, some of the should things that we do to ourselves. So that's a thought, and we can go, oh, you notice the thought, awareness, acceptance, action. Notice the thought, accept it. Yeah, that was a thought. I was expecting that. And my action is that didn't work. That didn't work. That was not a good thought. I'm going to try a different thought. I'm going to expect less, or I'm going to expect different, or I'm going to be real about it. And so it's about changing your thoughts.
So one more last question. There's one question by Zinat Iqbal ma'am. An emotional person is considered to be a fool and less professional, and sometimes even an impediment to success of projects and activities which require an iron hand. So how do we respond in such situations?
There are workplaces that expect you to not feel, and they're very judgmental. That is very true. There is a lot of times where it's not a good idea to feel stuff at work. Like I said, when you go home, though, you express yourself to find some safe place, or find safe people, or go in the bathroom or something if you need to cry for a minute, and then wipe off and then come back out and do your thing. I don't know what you need to do, but it's about you managing your inner world, not blaming them that they won't let you, but you go, okay, well, I'm not going to do it right now. That's my action, or my no action. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not going to yell at my boss. I'm not going to tell him what I really think about him right now, because then I'm, that's not a good idea. But now I'm aware that I have this feeling inside of me, and I do need to deal with this feeling. I'll do it later. I'll do it myself, or I'll do it outside, or I'll do it differently. So you still got to deal with it, but you don't necessarily have to do in their face. So I guess that's my first thought about that. There's probably a better answer.
Thank you so much, sir. We are really happy to have you, and it was really an interactive and interesting session with you. So coming to the closure, I would like to invite Dr. Kalpana Zutshi for a vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Nazia ma'am. With the permission of the Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, at the outset, let me start the formal proceedings of vote of thanks, paying homage to the Nightingale of India, who will forever live with these lines. Allah tero naam, Ishwar tero naam, sabko sanmati de Bhagwan, Allah tero naam. Mr. Max translating it for you, and for all those who didn't understand what it means, since you should feel you are in India, God has many names. Lord, kindly grant us permission to voice, and in the present context, to voice our mental health, including emotional and spiritual intelligence. It's my honor and proud privilege to propose vote of thanks on behalf of Mental Health Club, Dean Student Welfare Office, Nurture Life, and the entire Jamia Hamdard fraternity to all those who made this important occasion happen successfully. First and foremost, I would like to thank God and pray that we are granted courage to raise our voice for mental and physical well-being. Thanks are due to Mr. Saifuddin, BPT final year student, for enlightening us with the wisdom from Holy Quran. Our chief patron, Honorable Chancellor, Janab Hamdard Ahmed Sahib, is due for congratulations for his able and dynamic leadership for Jamia Hamdard, for striving and guiding us to make it a center of excellence in higher education in India and abroad. I would like to thank our patron, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Muhammad Afshar Alam Sahib, for taking keen interest in rapidly developing agendas of all the clubs and following up with the actions taken for the agendas submitted. Sir, it's your able leadership and hand-holding that keeps our spirits high for making all preceding activities better than before. Emotional intelligence is one of the few key characteristics that gives rise to strategic leaders in an organization. Emotional intelligence plays a significant role in the organization and becomes an important criterion of evaluation for judgment of an effective employee, increase the productivity and trust within and across the organization. I assure you yet again, sir, yet again, because last time also I did the same, that we will not leave any stone unturned for making this club successful. Thank you for your gracious presence, sir. Ms. Farah Sarosh, co-founder of the Nurture Life, is due for thanks for collaborating with Jamia Hamdard, and she's been a catalyst always, this time too, to raise awareness among all stakeholders about this very but usually neglected issue. Thank you very much, ma'am. We hope your support will continue to us in future also. I would like to thank Professor Dr. Reshma Naseem, Dean Student Welfare, Jamia Hamdard, for providing the platform for the deliberations of mental health for betterment of society and endorsing the role of emotional intelligence. Thank you once again, ma'am. Our distinguished speaker, Mr. Matt, we are thankful to your good self for accepting our invitation in spite of your very busy schedule and collaborating with us. On behalf of the entire Jamia Hamdard fraternity, I kindly request you, sir, to accept our sincere thanks. Yesterday, during the dry run, due to my inquisitive nature, as you saw, I asked you, what's the reason that you agreed to talk at 4 p.m. Indian Standard Time and 2:30 a.m. early morning hours in US, California? The answer you gave me is that what I want to share with the all learned audience here. Sir said, the first answer that he gave was, we can only learn when we go beyond our comfort zones. Second, It has to be according to the comfort of the listener. So therefore, my interpretation about his approach is that he's already following what late Hakim Abdul Hamid Sahib, the founder of Jamia Hamdard, used to preach and practice. So let's all imbibe the same. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to thank Dr. Zeenat Iqbal ma'am. She has remained a pillar in making most of the university functions successful. So is today. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank Madam Veena Sharma, President, Mental Health Club, for always providing us flexibility in our thought process and also implementing emotional intelligence in her practice, being a guiding light of the Mental Health Club. Thank you very much, ma'am. I would like to thank all the honorable deans of the schools, the heads of the departments, distinguished faculty members, and our beloved students who have taken out time for being part of this function and making it a grand endeavor. Emotional intelligence calls for recognizing and understanding of the issues in the organizations, and on the basis of the results, they can choose the strategies and actions to improve the performance of their employees. I would like to thank Mr. Rahil Beg sir, Mr. Pandey sir for providing IT support, resulting in smooth conduct of the entire program. I would like to thank the Office of the PRO for making this program far-reaching. I thank every student volunteer who helped our committee making it a reality. Now, of course, the members of the club and the Vice President. I would like to thank Vice President Rashida Begum ma'am, members Sadaf Siraj, Nazia Ali, Swati Srivastava, and myself, of course, because we have to acknowledge our emotions also. You see, that's the crux that we have learned today. And I really hope that the awareness of the emotional intelligence helps the students and the employees to increase their emotional self-awareness, emotional expression, creativity, increase tolerance, integrity, improve relations within and across the organizations, and thereby increase the performance of each employee, a student within the organization at large. The take-home message we all carried today is this. I had taken a quote from a very famous writer of the spiritual learning and emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to sense, understand, value, and effectively apply the power of the emotions as a source of human resource, human energy, information, trust, creativity, and influence. But there is not where I'm going to stop. I will not only give you something which has been given by someone. I would want to provide you with the pointers that I have taken today from Mr. Matt's talk. So here are the pointers. Peace is the goal. Take charge of yourself. We are born with only a few fears and no anger. Understand emotions. Worship inner peace outside in society. So let's do education about not only intellect, but also emotions, empathy for others and ourselves, grit. I am going to do it. Yes, you can do it. Good decision making. Emotions matter. Keep your eyes, ears, mind, and hearts open. Learn about you as well as your surroundings as well. Therefore, head, heart, and action. Everything matters. Feel it to heal it. Emotional safety, of course. Peace partner. So I have already found my peace partner. Listen and listen in totality. Not only show that you're listening. 3 A's. Awareness, acceptance, action. Action will come only with the acceptance with, not only about. Sir can correct me if I'm making any mistake. 3 negatives, fear, anger, and sadness. 3 positives, joy, peace, and love. So therefore, my dear friends, colleagues, and senior professionals, let's commit, let's connect, and let's correct ourselves. Thank you very much, everyone. Shukriya, namaste from India.
Thank you, Kalpana. Excellent acknowledgement.
Thank you very
Excellent,
much.
ma'am. Excellent, Kalpana, ma'am.
We'll be sending the certificate of appreciation to the distinguished speaker and to Mrs. Farah Sarosh. I hope you have seen the certificate of appreciation. We'll be
Yes, I
sending to
did.
you shortly. Thank you so
Thank you
much
so much.
for all the support.
It's always wonderful working with such an enthusiastic team. And Hamdard is really blessed to have such an environment that it is already an emotional safety is already there. That you
Yes.
are free to talk about your emotions, you are free to talk about your feelings, and the other person acknowledge. And today we learned that how much it is important to first love ourselves, then only we can love others, and first to acknowledge our feelings, then we can only acknowledge the other feelings. It's wonderful. And Matt, as usual, you were wonderful. Thoroughly enjoyed your session. It's always learning with you. Every time when I'm with you, learning new things. And it was wonderful. Thank you so much, Zeenat ma'am. Thank you for all the things you did in the past for this collaboration, all the pain you took. And today you can see how fruitful it is, I'm sure.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you all of you for being there. It was really wonderful having you. Reshma ma'am, thank you. Mehtaj ma'am, thank you. And any others if I've missed?
Nazia, I would
Matt,
like to add
good.
here, those who are not seen on the screen and are off the screen, particularly Swati Srivastav, Sadaf Siraj, and Rashida Begum. They have actually worked untiringly to make this program successful.
Just a second. Matt, I hope this is the first step in our journey for understanding emotional quotient and emotional intelligence. We do hope we'll have further collaboration with you in future. It has been, what should I say, a very enlightening experience. The joy and the, what I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, the joie de vivre that you bring to your discourse is immense. And you really love what you are saying, and that translates and spills over to all of us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think that would be all.
Yes, ma'am.
I must commend Dr. Veena, the president, and the team members for such a wholehearted participation and coordination. And thank you all for staying with us. And especially extra thanks to Mr. Matt Perelstein, which is almost, I think, 4:30 for you in the morning.
Thanks for your blessings, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you all of you. Hopefully we'll meet you with another nice topic.
Thank you.
Thank you all of you.
Thank you.
With your permission, I'll take leave. Bye, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.